Welcome everyone to the 4th episode of the Learning Curve podcast with your host Justin Hamza Tyler. And I have some special guests, some special friends with me from the Performing Arts Department. I can't wait for you guys to get to know who they are. But first, you gotta talk to them. Get to know who they are, how long they've been here, what's their purpose, why are they important, okay? So to my right, I'll let Ms. Laura introduce herself and then we'll go through the rest of the panel.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura Opperman and I am the music teacher in school. I've been at NAISAK for 9 years and I'm the head of department as well. And I'm passing it on to the next person.
Hi, my name is Vicki Hughes. I teach movement and EYFS PE and I've been at NAISAK for 4 years now.
Hi, I'm Lois Woodward. I am the whole school drama teacher and I've been at NAISAK now this is my 2nd year.
Thank you for introducing yourselves. They don't know how fun it was right before the camera turned on. Maybe we have some behind the scenes footage of that.
Please don't.
But it was a riot. It definitely was a riot, and we're really going to enjoy this conversation here today. So first and foremost, let's get the house business in order. We have to check us out on YouTube and also on Spotify, right? This is where the Learning Curve podcast is housed. On YouTube, for your viewing pleasure, we do have it time-stamped, so you can surf as long as you want throughout the whole episode to what question you want to see, all right? So make sure you check that out in our description box in YouTube. And then Spotify, you just have to listen. Just drive, work out, run, do something, clean the house. You can listen to it on Spotify. Download it while you're at it as well. That'll help us out as well, all right? Okay, none of that business. Let's get down to the brass tacks of it all. Listen, so performing arts. We have a world-class partnership with the Juilliard School, but it's bigger than that. You need to know what we do here to express that, with our students and through our teachers and our experts here. So I do have a first question to set the tone. We need to know their background. Why performing arts? Why NAISAK? All right, so I'm gonna go in the opposite order. Ms. Woodward, I want her to explain a little bit, under a minute.
Time limits now? Okay.
These drama teachers, they could talk, right?
We do.
I want you to talk about your background in performing arts.
Okay.
Why NAISAK? So let's start with that and then we'll go through the rest of the panel.
Yeah, of course. So for me, I have always had a love for drama, starting it at secondary school, and that progressed through to college. And then I announced to my mother, I want to be an actress, much to her, oh goodness me. I got into drama school, did a degree, kind of did some acting on stage, bit of screen work, TV. Didn't quite work out for me, and then started reflecting on some other things, and someone suggested teaching to me. And I did a bit of experimentation. I tried primary, tried secondary, and then decided to become a drama teacher. And I'm just frustrated I didn't become a drama teacher right from the start, to be honest.
You're a whole school drama teacher.
Yes, I am now. Yeah. So that's been a...
So listen, I'm not going to gloss over this. You said TV.
Oh, don't do this to me.
No, listen, hold on. So not everyone can get on TV. So
it was a long time ago. Probably not around now.
Don't say your age. Don't say your age. But what was it that you were trying to do on TV? Were you trying to be a TV actor or on Broadway, or I don't know what the England equivalent is for Broadway?
Oh, so the West End would be our equivalent.
There you go.
I mean, in a dream world, yes. I actually set my targets as I just wanted to be on EastEnders, which is a local, she'll start laughing, a major soap opera. I thought I would be fantastic for that. Yeah. Didn't quite make it though.
I think they made the wrong decision.
I think they did too.
If you ask me. I think they should have picked you.
Their poor choice, NAISAK's gain.
I like that. That's a bar. I like that. Miss Vicki, what about your experience? Because are you whole school?
I am whole school, yeah. I've taught everyone from FS1, foundation stage 1, all the way up to like year 12 and 13.
Nice.
In a mixture of movement and PE over the last 4 years. I started out I was always a dancer. So I learned from a very young age different types of dance, in a sense of like it was ballroom, Latin, disco.
Disco?
I was never the ballet and tap person. I've actually doing that much later in life.
Right.
And then I found a passion of GCSE dance, kind of like obviously like, you know, with your students as well now. I took that into A-level, and then I was able to do it at university at De Montfort in Leicester. And then before I knew it, I didn't get into the student dance company. So I was never the performer. I was always the teacher. So my teaching kind of started in university, and my first teaching gig was teaching over 65s. Honestly, it was the best module I've ever learned. But then that even took me to like freelance work and stuff. I was working with a lot of, I'm originally from Manchester in the UK, so I was working with like underprivileged kids, people from all over like the Northwest. And then such projects got me back into leading dance with older people and stuff, which was, even my mum used to come to, she wasn't out then. And
Mom, you
then,
weren't that young then.
No, she was all right. She was the youngest there. And then it actually took me, I was looking for something else and I wanted to travel, and then actually a friend of mine from my uni days was in Shanghai. So I went out as an expat kind of coach, so was running the department there, and then next minute I was building links with all the international schools, and one of our schools within North Anglia, bespoke, were actually in Shanghai, we're looking for someone to work in their like inclusion department, and I said, can I do my PGCE there? And they said yeah. So I went in asking for something, and they gave me a job as well. So yeah, and I've stayed within Nord since then. So on and off for the last 10 years. And it's taken me to Singapore where I met my husband, and then we've had our family here in Qatar. So yeah.
North Anglia keeps giving.
It does, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And then, are you Manchester City or Manchester United?
I'm neither, but if you ask my husband and my mum, my brother, like they're very much a blue. Okay. A blue side.
Whew. Okay, maybe that was too of a divisive question. I don't know who's watching this. I don't know who's gonna get mad. I used to like her, but now she said you know, I don't know much about football, because Americans would say soccer, like that's natural, but football, right? Wayne Rooney was my favorite player growing up. I don't know what team that man played for.
Oh, he was United,
I just like
Everton and United, yeah.
Oh, and United, okay. Yeah, he was just amazing to me. I just thought he was amazing. So, yeah, shout out to Wayne Rooney. Shout out to Manchester. All right. And last but not least, Miss Laura, you have too many titles, so I'm going to let you just go ahead. You can talk about your titles and what you do. So you go ahead. It's too many for me to announce. Go ahead.
The most important title for me is to be a mum. I think that's the nicest thing that ever happened to me. Mum is one of my titles. So I have been in a performing arts school in South Africa, and you would not believe me, ladies, but Charlize Theron was my roommate. So yes. So performing arts school in South Africa, she was my roommate, and we were in a boarding school together for 3 years. Finished IGCSE levels and A levels, and then I went on to studying some opera. Did my opera degree for 4 years, then did my PGCE, did my master's then in music and education, and then my husband and I decided to travel the world. We worked in India, London, Botswana, and then in 2014 my husband got a job in Qatar, came to Qatar, and we were looking for a school to enroll Chris into. I phoned the school and I asked, but why do you not offer music in your curriculum? They said, because they can't find a music teacher. So the next day I came for an interview, and the day later I had the job, and I've been here since then, since 2014.
Awesome.
So I know, it's a lovely story with a good ending.
There's so much to pick from what you just said. First of all, I love Mad Max, and she was in there, she did a fabulous job. Fabulous job. Second of all, I'm going to start calling you Laura Opperman, because you studied opera. Right? I have funny dad jokes, maybe not funny, but Laura Opperman. And then you are from South Africa, correct?
Yes.
All right, because people say, oh, I worked in London, but I just want people to know that that's actually an expat move for you, and these two are from the UK, but, you know, I just want to make sure people knew that. Wow, Charlize, how was she? Was she same way as she presents now?
So the Performing Arts School had 3 disciplines, actually 4 disciplines: visual arts, dance, drama, and music. And she was a prima ballerina. She was actually, she was enrolled in the dance curriculum in school, and it was amazing to be part of her career.
And they didn't know that?
No, she's kept that quiet.
She has kept that
reason,
very
for a
quiet.
reason.
That's an exclusive, y'all. Like, you
It is.
didn't know, now you know. That's an exclusive right there. Thank you for bringing that to the show.
I will bring a photo next time so that the two of us without ponytails on a photo. So
Please do.
Please.
That's a blast from the past. I would love to see that. All right, cool. So we got that out the way. I think people get to know who you are, and I think they're pretty happy probably with everything they heard so far. Let's talk about Juilliard. All right. So what sets Juilliard's approach apart from when it comes to teaching dance and drama and music in an international school like this?
for me, it's bringing all the disciplines together and the holistic view that it is. It's not just learning one discipline. I can actually teach a little bit of movement and a little bit of drama in the music room. The curriculum is set up that you touch a little bit on everything. So although you are a subject specialist in your own subject, it's just, I don't know, it's open for interpretation. And even the students who's not really interested in your subject can touch into even English, math, science. All of it comes together through this curriculum.
And it's exclusive, like it's inclusive for all students. Like, I mean, everyone at this school is doing some discipline from from foundation 1 right through up until like GCSE now, right? So like, and even the year 12 and 13s, like they've already had access to it and stuff like in secondary. So it's meant that all of our students have been able to access some form of it along the way.
That's a very good point, because some people will say, well, I'm not a dancer, I'm not a musician, but you talk about the cross-curricular aspects of the curriculum, and then the inclusivity, which we're always striving to do in the school. Make sure that everyone can feel like they can do a waltz. Everyone feel like they can do a soliloquy, right?
Absolutely.
Everyone feel like they can bang some drums at least, right? But it's within us. Everyone's creative. Just what type of creativity do you have, right? Imagination do you have? So I really believe that. That's a good point right there.
And I do think the main thing is success for all. Everyone will be successful within our subjects. So no matter if they only learn 1 or 2 notes on the keyboard, or if they can play a full song, or if they can perform on a show, they will all have access to this.
Absolutely. All right. Can I ask another Juilliard question? All right. So how does Juilliard's philosophy of creativity and excellence happen in our performing arts program? What do we do to express that? I know it's so much, I know. So gather your thoughts.
What I particularly like about the Juilliard program is actually their whole viewpoint of how you teach a lesson is completely different to the British curriculum. And the way that the lessons are structured, it really allows for a child just to have a go without being like activating their full creativity by, oh, I think this is right. And whatever they try is right, because they're not sort of guided to begin with. They just say, why don't you try this?
Right.
So they have a go, and then a really big part of the Juilliard curriculum is reflecting on the work that they've done. So they'll be like, why did we make these choices? And it allows critical thinking with the children and to develop that. And then at the end, they'll get to see a clip of a professional performance. So that can be a show or a piece of movement or some musicians. And then the children suddenly realise, oh my goodness, what we did, we did what they did. And then they make those connections. And I just think the way it's structured is definitely one of the key benefits to the Juilliard curriculum.
If I can add to that, the curriculum specialists coming into our school that actually comes and add and bring flavor to the lessons that we do. We've got Raphael coming to visit us in 4 weeks' time, and we've planned for Lois to teach the exact same lesson what Raphael will demo. So it's going to be interesting to see the exact same lesson being taught by 2 different people and what the outcome for that will be.
Nice. And we had a great time with Salla when she came, and I was more in your remit, but really enjoyed her time. She's such a professional. She knows what she's talking about. So yeah, we welcome the next crop of Juilliard to come here as well. All right. I think sometimes when we talk about performing arts, you talk about misconceptions. And some people feel like they're not the person to do performing arts, or that's not my style. what can every student benefit from being in performing arts?
I suppose like being exposed to like 3 different disciplines, and kind of like what Laura was saying, both Lois, is that doing the Juilliard creative classroom lessons, there's always that introduction of like, this is what, you know, like this kind of like smaller idea of what we want you to do, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the students are always able to like be creative, and I think like then they share the work with each other, so there's, I think that what you're saying about misconceptions is making sure that they are performing, but they won't realise they don't need to be on that big stage. They can just be sat by the mirrors around a room, and like they can either perform where they're sitting, they can perform at the front, they can perform in the round, and like they've become a performer, which also then helps with like public speaking, making presentations, job interviews like this, like, you know, there's they've created something, they've performed without even realising. I think like, and then then they'll watch the core works and be like, I've just done something like that, like, and then make the click. And I think that like light bulb moment is quite special.
And something I want to add to that is, especially in this dynamic region that we live in, we ask the students to listen to the music and tell us, how do they feel about it? How does it make you feel? And I don't think they always get confronted with that, especially in their, I don't want to, help me a little bit, like, but
I think like, as part of like, it's
part of their culture and part of their tradition. They don't always have to confront their feelings, and we ask them, so how does this music make you feel? What do you think about it? So we ask them, their creativity, their creative innovation, and what do they think, and how can they even make it better?
I think it's good to put the onus on the children and the students and say, hey, I want you to tell me, reflect. Because we are sometimes, as educators, always telling them what they should be thinking or what they should be learning at this moment. But now when I give you the stage, it's like, you really want to know what yes, I actually do want to know. But then I can be a better educator. I can be a better teacher and instructor, right? We can build things around what the class would like within the framework of the curriculum. But I think that's very important to bring them in there.
Can I? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that's one of the lovely things about the Juilliard curriculum in particular, because we ask those questions, students realise that their opinion matters. It's not a question of, did I get the answer right or did I get it wrong? It's a case of, this is my opinion. Okay, tell me more and why. And actually, what I love in particular is suddenly a child's like, yes, actually, usually a child that's probably not brave enough sometimes to say their idea straight away, but somebody else will have said it and they go, yes, I thought the same thing. And you can suddenly see these connections being made. So I think that's a really great thing.
Yeah, that is good.
And one thing I always like to tell students is the fact that like, there's always like a right and wrong answer with some questions and stuff, but I think in such creative disciplines, like their answers and opinions are open for interpretation. So I definitely say to my students as well, like, there's no wrong answer. Obviously, there's a right and wrong here and there with an odd question here and there, but like they have the right to have that opinion. You don't need to like this like piece of hip hop, but I love this, and you know someone else might specialize in it. No problem. I know you do. But like, and they'd be like, nah, that's not my jam. But like, it could be the next person's, and they could be like, oh, I didn't really think like that, and like, oh, that's an interesting point of view. And it's like letting them realize it's a safe space for interpretation and creativity. I think it just makes them go, oh, and I think it helps with engagement more.
It does, because I know some of the students in our performing arts program, and some of them have a little bit of rigidity to them as a personality, but when it comes to expression, they have to get out of that. And they have to trust themselves that I can be creative. I can do something innovative. And I like to see that with those students, like this, how their mind works, and like, let me get out of my own shell to produce something. And they do produce some really quality work. The ones that I know of, I'm like, wow, you did that? Oh, amazing, you know? But they're showing a different level and dimension of themselves, which is great. So kudos to you for doing that for students. Speaking of that, it's a good segue to this question as well. What are you most proud of in terms of your tenure here, in terms of what you have accomplished, what you have done in the classroom? anything. What are you most proud of in your role?
Can I jump on that question?
Go for it.
When I first came here 4 years ago, we only had performing arts. I might be wrong here. Is every term the discipline would change and we'd have a rotation. And within that 4 years, we've now expanded to like that everyone now has music lessons, everyone now has drama and movement, and they have access. Everyone has access, and access whether it's like short blocks or rotations, whether it's every single week, and also mixed lessons as well. That's become something that was really important for us.
Yes.
Is the fact that you can have like female students working together on one side and the males on another, and obviously they're not watching each other because obviously like we're very aware of like cultural being culturally appropriate and stuff like that. And then specifically my subject that completely kind of like stops during Ramadan at the time, is we've had to think outside the box, every single one of us. So like when I got told that, I was like, I wouldn't be able to do any kind of movement or even click onto a Juilliard classroom, like create a classroom. I'd be like, what am I going to do? Right. So your technology comes in, so everyone's making stop motion animations, and all of a sudden they're all like tech whizzes and showing me how to do like import this and use CapCut and do this, and I'm just like, wow, I didn't even know you were like this much of a like technical whiz and stuff. But I think like seeing the program grow like that, especially in a short amount of time, and the same for you, like we didn't have whole school drama.
No, I mean, when I was brought in, I think the drama was done by the English department beforehand. So I was the first sort of drama teacher that NAISAK have had. So I started off in secondary, and then we've grown it to whole school drama. But even when I first came here, there was a little bit of resistance to the idea of here's drama, a bit of performing, and the idea that you've got to step out your comfort zone. Yes. And so lessons to begin with were quite difficult, but they've sort of realised, like the students in particular, they've realised, there is no wrong approach. I just always encourage, have a go. What's the worst that can happen? And now for me personally, so it was the first year of GCSE Drama last year. Yes. I've grown the uptake by 200% this year.
Resume talk.
Huh?
That's a resume. CV.
Oh no, I'm super proud.
Like that, though. Yeah, you should be.
Get my numbers in there.
Absolutely.
But honestly, my biggest thing for me is seeing the level of confidence some of the students develop with doing drama. Especially some of the students that may be on the quieter side, and you can see that they want to be creative and they want to have a go. And then suddenly we had an amazing performance recently, the Sky Full of Stars, and there were some incredible dance pieces, incredible music pieces, and some of my drama students performed in that. But if you'd have asked the teachers, maybe would these students perform, they would have gone no, but they were the ones on stage.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
There was one student, I'm not going to say her name, but when I saw her perform, and I was like, wow, she did it. She went up there and really did it.
Yeah.
I was like a proud papa. That's not my daughter.
Oh, I'm exactly the same.
I was like, wow, she really went up there and did it.
Yeah.
I was happy for her. Really the story, I know a little bit about her, and I'm like, she went up there and did the thing. So, yeah, I wanted to say that. Yeah, it was great.
No, I was exactly the same. I always pretend that I'm like quite a firm, scary teacher. But honestly, I get a bit emotional when I see things like that. And one was...
But you all have a way of teaching a class that gets everyone involved. I've seen all of you teach multiple times. You all have a way, and I'm going to say magic, but it's a way that you have it where people are like, yeah, I'll do it.
Well, I think you have to.
Yeah.
Because we're so passionate about our disciplines that like... And each and every one of us, and as a department, I mean, gosh, it was just you. I wasn't even part of performing arts. I'm in both departments, like throughout the last few years. But we've each developed our own bit of magic and gone, oh, that's worked. Let's do this. And then like, such as performances and like this event and that event. And it's like, oh. And you're also having your light bulb moments and stuff. But I think like, these students that are shining are because, teachers... I don't mean it in like an ego way, but we're talking like that magic, like you were saying, like you have to, because we're so passionate about our subject that we want to see it, like we want to see the success of it. We don't want to see it fail, and we want to be able to do that with the students we've got here, because this is where we are right now.
Yes.
So I think that makes sense.
I don't want to hijack your opportunity, because I want you to also talk about your proudest moment, but I just wanted to maybe interject on that, because you all have a way of doing it in a nice way. I love how you guys make it inclusive for everyone.
The thing I'm the most proudest of is I've been teaching some of the students for 10 years. For them to just see that they recognize the inner artist. It doesn't have to be in music, dance, or in drama. Just to realize that they can be themselves and they can tap into that little bit of, this is who I am, this is how I feel, and this is how I can show the world who I am. And we saw it on that concert when they were out there. They just got on stage, and the discipline that they showed on stage, and it was a show for students, by students, for them to actually give up their time and say, you know what, I really want this to be a success. And the teamwork that they put in shows how far we've come over the last few years.
Yeah, some really good pictures on our Instagram and Facebook pages of the event, and also video that highlights, the essence of it as well. If you get a chance to do that, you should definitely check it out. And we'll get to the questions later about that event too. So, but let's get to Move 24. Bespoke, holistic, school-wide event. 9 schools came and went and conquered. So, Vicki, let's talk about.
Oh gosh.
Let's talk about it, because it was an event that hasn't been done before that I've seen in my last 8 years in this country. Okay, so can we talk more about the connection between well-being, movement, and performing arts, and how you brought together these schools, the QEPSA schools, to be a part of this type of event? Because it was bespoke.
Yeah.
Let's keep it there. It was bespoke. It was original. It was an idea that you incubated and changed here. So I'm giving you a lot of lead into this, because I really enjoyed it, but I want you to talk more about that.
It's the first thing that you see when you see a Move t-shirt. It says team on the front, and you don't even see Move. It doesn't say that until you see the back of the Move t-shirt.
Right.
And it was a real team effort. It was early conversations with Jamie, our principal.
Yes.
Senior leadership. These guys were always on board. There's no way that I have these mad ideas, and we always use each other as soundboards, and that's the way we work very well together.
Yeah.
So that these events go, I kind of want to do this, and they're like, oh, and they go, oh. So Move developed from an original idea that I was doing back in Shanghai, and it was called Dance Fest.
Yes.
We've been in the climate that we're in. It's not something you're going to advertise of a dance fest. It's just was not going to work in Cathay itself.
Yep.
And so it travelled with me from Shanghai. It started with just 30 kids, grew to 300 kids the year after, and it was just for school people out. It was the neighbouring schools. It had nothing to do with where I was working at the time. They were just kind of coming in. We were all seeing their original choreography and stuff. And then as you kind of travelling around, you make more dance friends, and they're a dance teacher. Oh, capoeira, let's get them in. Cheerleading, let's get them in. And so then I took it to Singapore, and then COVID hit, so we had to do a much smaller version of it at Dover Court, but actually the version of it worked. And the head of secondary at the time there was actually a previous contemporary performer.
Nice.
So I was like, Craig, please can you help us out? And he was like, yep, roll his sleeves up, and off we went straight in. So I was able to have. So then I've been wanting to do it here, but I've been also, I came to Qatar with my husband, obviously from Singapore, but I came here to have a family. So now that I have my 2 lovely Lola and Jude, it was time for me to get my teeth into something. And Move was created, was the next baby, I suppose. Not anymore. And so...
Third baby, right?
No, we're done.
That's another
Done. And so Move was 6 months in the making. And it was an idea that kind of came about with conversations, as we said. And, Laura's been here, how you said 10 years, you know how to run these things with your eyes closed. So I'm hello, I have this idea. And so basically Move became a 1-day event after talking to Jamie and kind of getting his support into a 5-day event. And I came out of the meeting and was oh, okay. So 1-day event to go to 5. And then it it got the whole community involved. It was like, gosh, I feel like I can't remember. Like day one was me dancing on stage for like 7 hours. I don't want to hear the Space Jam song ever again. Like all of primary basically then on day 5 performed that choreography, and awesome. it was and we nice all wore blue. I think it was Diabetes Day. Yeah. We all wore blue. It was great. Check that video out as well. Yeah. And then day 2 was that was the big one. Yes. So even you were involved. I was. So everyone was involved here. I think you were teaching basketball. You were doing music. I know you did African drumming that day, right? Yeah. You did something. I can't remember what you did, and then you were doing physical theatre and had people lifting each other in the air. Yeah. So basically, I didn't teach that day, but ran around like a headless chicken.
Yeah, you were running.
I did the catering. I fed everyone.
You did. And then yes, you did. Sorry, so basically, there was workshops for every. So the idea was that every student from FS1 to year 13 would do an hour of movement. Mm-hmm. Now some classes did 2, some even did 3. And every teacher and member of staff in this school also did the same. Mm-hmm. So our professional development that evening was, an array of teachers getting together. I think we had Miss Anita teaching like salsa. Yeah. We had some Arabic dance being performed.
Welsh dancing.
We had Welsh. Like folk dance. We had phenomenal. Oh gosh, the list was endless. About 13 different workshops, and I think I went and did salsa at some point. I think I was moving around. We even had like netball going on. Yes. So basically, the idea, instead of calling it like dance fest, you can't do that in our current climate. So it was like, right, well, we need to move. Mm-hmm. So Move 24 was just born, and day 3 was into like was aimed at parents. Yes. So we worked with Flourishing Minds, who are a clinic down in Lusail. They come up here. We have a very good professional working relationship with them. They've helped us out on International Day and other events as well. So they came in, did a parent workshop. Parents were doing an hour of badminton and stuff, which was great. That was great. Yes. Hitting back and forth with some of the parents, and then day 4 was when we had, including us, there was 10 schools actually involved. With QEPSA is the, you're gonna ask me to break that down now, aren't you? Qatar Primary Sports Association. Yeah,
nice.
And so they all were like, I've been trying to like get it up and running with these guys for ages. The first year we didn't really have the market for it, and so now we did, and the time. And so day 4 was like basically the schools within Qatar, like 10 of them came with their original choreography, learned Space Jam, performed on stage, and watched each other. So there was, they were like learning, they were performing, and they were spectating as well. So and then they all went home with a prize at the end. So a friend of mine is a ballet teacher. She'd already worked on the workshops on day 2. I had to come back for day 4. She's like, yep, no problem. She's coming back for Move 25 as well in a few weeks. And so then after that I had a very, like, when I say like Move was in the making, it was like we all take a big deep breath, because it was epic. It was, I think, in my head. It was epic.
In everyone's head, it was epic. By the way, she just made me think about this. Once we post this on YouTube, I'll include the article that was published in Qatar Tribune. Also, I'll post the video that we did of this event as well in the description of the YouTube channel. All right, so you'll see that there in the description. But it was, and I really appreciate you explaining it, because it wasn't easy. You had to bring in other schools, and they had to learn on their own, and you're not there on site to see if it's actually happening or what was going to happen. But when they came, the kids were happy.
Yeah, there was about 200 kids that day.
I will add, because I was supporting, I was emceeing on that day, and I will say, like, it was amazing to see all of Vicki's hard work come to fruition. But what I loved, and I know that she did as well, is that every single teacher from other schools and all the students were like, this was the coolest thing ever. When's the next one? And I just remember her going, but I know also the way you work, the cogs work, and going, next one. But honestly, it was so nice to see
And we'd
all
never
of that.
had that many schools come to NAISAK. Like some of these people
True.
have now even been to
Not
Khor.
for sports competitions.
Yeah, I don't think so. No, we've
That's
since
true.
then, yes, and slightly before, but yeah, it was a big thing for all of us to host that many. But I think day 2, like we had to get the outside vendors in. We were getting like outside. We had like, gosh, I don't think there was a movement style we didn't think of. There was like football. You know, we utilised every single member of the P department, performing arts, yourself. There was it was, but the you know the kind of logistics of how to run. I think we had 80 workshops. 1,200 students had moved, and every member of staff, which I think at that time was probably about over 120 members of staff. So. Yeah, that was a big day.
And as a new employee of NAISAK, that was the first time that I had an entryway into a lot of the students. Because now it was like, I seen you around, big guy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what you do. And so when we were playing basketball, I still say hi to some of these guys now when I see them.
That's good.
Tell them when we're playing basketball next. You know, and so that was my first gateway into like, hey, this is the community. And so I really appreciate that opportunity.
You're
All
welcome.
right. So because of the time frame, I have to go on to the next one. But I think you covered it very well, and we'll cover it in the description of YouTube. So, all right, thank you. Now let's talk about Miss Salla's visit, right, to NAISAK. So Miss Salla is a senior dance curriculum specialist of the Juilliard School. Okay. By the way, I used to work like right down the street from Juilliard School, so I used to see this magnificent school every single day when I was in New York City. So it's definitely a marvel, and the people inside of it are just class, right? So we're going to talk about that. So Laura, I do have a question for you to start it off. Since you are one of 6 regional leads for Juilliard, I have to throw that in. You're not going to tell them, but I have to tell them this information. All right? You're so humble. All right? Can you tell us about the impact of Salla's visit and the different dance workshops that she led for our parents and our students? Why was that important?
Since Salla came 4 years ago, and she's seen the students basically being a little bit resistant to going to dance lessons or movement lessons, to see her come in this year, and everyone was just open to her explaining, and they already knew the terminology. They already knew, because Vicki, you've been doing really a good job in teaching these students to just be open to this discipline that makes them feel something and do something. And then for Salla to come and work with them and actually do a demo lesson with them while Vicki is watching, and Vicki is almost like facilitating and help a little bit, and you did some of the movements as well. To have that partnership, and then when parents come in later and they see exactly, so Salla did a demo lesson with the students, and then parents came in to observe to see what a demo lesson is. And for them, for parents just to see, but wow, this is actually what my child does in school. Right. And this person is all the way from New York coming to show my child that this is how it is in the big world out there. This is a professional. Salla was a professional dancer, am I right? Herself. So, yeah. So yes, and then for her to come in and show the students, but this is, if you don't want to go into a dance career, you can always become a curriculum specialist, or you can become a teacher, and it just opens their mind to a little bit more of what is out there and what you can do. So yes, the partnership that we have with our curriculum specialists is invaluable.
Yes. And how was it working with someone like of Salla's pedigree? Like, was it like nervous to work with her, or was it seamless to work with her?
Yeah, the first time I went into this was in another school was in Dover Court in Singapore, and that's when I first.
Dover Court,
that's where I kind of like first kind of met all these people. So like, you know, they fly you out and like you just like meet all of these creators and like they sit in one room and just like, who are all these people? And you're just like, I've now got to take all of this and put it in the classroom. But like I was working with another curriculum specialist at the time, and then actually with COVID hitting, Salla actually became my curriculum specialist and mentor as well, actually, through that. And so we had an online, I had met her in person, but we actually our professional relationship grew over like being online and stuff. Like I sent her videos and she would like watch them back, and she would teach the kids online like through like Zoom and stuff back in the day. And then when I moved here, I realized she was going to be my curriculum specialist again. So actually we have a working relationship now of like 5 years. So when Salla comes, it's a highlight because I feel like I'm getting to see a friend.
Yes.
I was very nervous in the beginning, but now it's like old hat, isn't it, really? It's just like, Laura pulls up the itinerary and I go, duh. And and she knows the kids now, like the kids know her. And I think because we've had the same person work with us, I know that there can be change and stuff with, you know, who's working here and who's working there. But it's nice to have that, you know, working relationship for that amount of time, especially the 4 years I've been here. So, yes.
And she's seen them grow.
She has, same like you were saying before, like she's gone, oh yeah, because she knew one of the students. She's like, oh, you've taught that student before and they're completely different now in your lesson. Like, because they've now got more access to the lesson and understand, like more access to the subjects, and know what's expected of them now because they've got that. So I'm looking for like that access to it, I suppose. Like, You
know, it was interesting because I saw you talking on the couch, and you know, passing by, and I'm like, oh, they're very comfortable. You know, like they've known each other for a long time. Now I know the backdrop of why. I was like, they're very comfortable.
Yeah,
so.
half of that's just us talking and sharing parenting tips. She's got 3 boys, so yeah.
Oh, 3 boys. That food bill must be insane. I'll tell you that much because my mom had 2 boys, me and my brother, and between the both of us, that food bill.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's a new normal. Thank you for sharing your experience on that. Now we have to talk about IGCSE Drama.
Yay.
The first of the first, right? In the school's history. You brought it to us, right?
Yes.
You were the central reason why we had it there. So we got to talk about that, the success of launching that. How did you do it? The first ever IGCSE drama course here at NAISAK.
Well, for me, I'd already, my previous working experience was working in a school that had it established. So I was kind of excited and nervous to come to a new school, a new sort of demographic, and see how drama would be perceived. And again, when we first started, it was quite interesting. A lot of the students were very, again, resistant to performing, even though they liked the idea of drama. I don't think they fully understood sort of the commitment, the work that you have to put into it. But over time, my group of current year 11s, they're sitting their exam this year in April. If you see them compared from the start for the start of the course to where they are now, like their progress is absolutely incredible. And whether or not they go on to do A-level and their future plans are going to be, you know, I mean, I'd love all of them to be actors and actresses. But I know that's not on the cards for most of them. They have all said things like, oh, miss, this has benefit me in terms of my confidence. One particular student, their language acquisition, because they're having to learn, you know, so many lines and they're having to say it over and over again, and the quality of their voice and things like that. It's incredible. But as much as I'm proud of it, it's also the hard work of the students, because they've given me their trust to get them through, and they've obviously seen this slightly mad drama teacher come in. I mean, like, this is drama. They're like, oh my goodness. And now they're just like, yep, we're here, we're present, we're doing it. And like I said, and then this year's current year 10s, we've had a massive grow of students uptaking. So I'm really, really proud of that. And the level of work that they're creating already is absolutely incredible. They've only had 1 year of drama with me in year 9, but I'm already seeing the benefits of their performing skills just with 1 year. So I'm hoping that in the future, those kids I'm teaching in year 1 right now, 10 years down the line, GCSE, they're going to be, they will be then developing on to the Oscars and thanking me in their Best Actress nominations and Actors nominations.
We'll laugh at 10 years, but 10 years goes by pretty fast.
I like that.
You never know what will happen in 10 years. So a decade can prove to be the next Oscar winner, right?
Exactly. So
what's the equivalent award in the UK for an Oscar? It's like, what would
BAFTA.
Be like a
BAFTA.
yeah.
Okay.
BAFTA.
I've heard
BAFTA
that
or a
before.
Brit Award or
Heard
in
that.
music.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
If they don't go, and I want to thank Miss Woodward, I'd just be like, not happy. Tears and everything.
We have to get them back to talk about, you know, their journey, right? Because I need some content from Martin, so yeah, I'll have
Absolutely.
to bring him or her back. And for the students who are a little bit reluctant to maybe jump into the drama arena, what would be your words to them to encourage them to come out and to see what it's about?
So one of the biggest obstacles that I found in teaching drama is often the misconception that drama is only useful if you want to be an actor or an actress. And it's one of my favourite things to do, to go, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they'll tell me something. One particular student's like, well, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I said, okay, let me tell you how drama can help you with that. You are going to need to do potentially public speaking. You are going to need to negotiate. You are going to need to possibly teamwork and then delegate. These are all skills that you need to learn and you get to develop in a drama lesson. You're put into groups. You're suddenly going, right, this is what we're doing today. And suddenly you've got to work with these people. And you know, we've all had it in our work situations where you've got someone who's like, right, this is what we're doing. You've got someone else going, I don't want to do that. And then you've got someone else going, I have no idea what's going on. And yet you've got to kind of collectively get them together to create something. So, I will always say, just give it a go. You know, take what you need from drama. So whether that's just building your confidence, developing your language acquisition, your oracy skills. There's loads of soft skills, and it's the same for all of our subjects. There's definitely soft skills you can take from any of ours, and you can use that in any other subject or other career paths. So I always say there's always a benefit to drama, and I will always fight for it.
Definitely. The one thing about all three of you can hear your voices. Oh yeah.
Well, I'm short. I'm short, so you've got to hear me. That's my excuse anyway. You always hear us coming.
Yeah, no, it's always a good reason. It's a good reason why. We're almost done. We're getting to the last parts of the interview. We're having a good time, though.
Yeah.
Definitely having a good time. Let's talk about Sky Full of Stars, which is another event that transformed this atrium, what we call the courtyard, nighttime event, right? Evening event. And it had a little bit of drama, a little bit of music, a little bit of movement, and some business studies. Shout out to Mr. Blaine, some business studies as well. But it was a student-led, teacher-supervised. So that was different as well. So a nighttime event, we haven't had one of those in a long time at the school. Student-led, teacher-supervised, and we intertwine business studies in that as well. Interesting. Can you talk more about that, Laura, in terms of the conception of the idea? Why you did it? And then what was the impact for the students who had a chance to put on their own show, if you will, and take ownership of it?
Yeah. So there is not a theatre close by anywhere. So
In Khor.
In Khor.
Yes.
In Khor, sorry.
Yes.
And I would actually love for our school to maybe one day, we can have a theatre close by, or even if North Anglia maybe can build us a theatre on campus, that would be awesome. I can already see the drama teacher buying into this. So to bring an event to the community, and to get the parents to buy in to see their students or their children on stage, but then to know that some of the kids who don't want to be on stage are willing to do something off stage. So we had students who designed the program, who designed the poster design. We did not use that one at the end, but they were all involved to helping to design to the program, even the tickets. We had students waiting at the gate to usher the parents in. Backstage was done by students. The lighting was done by drama students. Just unfortunately sound not yet, so Miss Woodward did our sound for us this year, but maybe next year we can actually get the students in to do that as well. And everything was but the students bought into this whole idea of, this is a concert that we want to do for our friends, for our family. And what you did with the footage that we got and the video and the photographs is
my team. I'm just a figurehead.
Fantastic.
You do
team.
have a fantastic team. And the article in the newspaper, it's just really a team effort from students through. So we actually can put a tick next to all the stakeholders. Everyone was involved. SLT just said, you know what, take this idea and run with it. So everyone was involved with this.
That was the most impactful thing to me. Everyone was involved.
Yes.
We saw it with Move 24, but then this was an event though that parents actually showed up as well.
Yeah.
So now they were actually here spectating. We were there spectating, but like it seemed like everyone in our community had a role in that, right?
Yeah.
Like, from security to everyone. So that's what made it magical.
Yeah.
And then just the turnout.
And even housekeeping staff, they were all around. They were part of the audience, and we had parents singing with the song. So
people dancing in the audience.
Yes,
Lots of the little kids. It was amazing.
Yes. No, it was that was an impactful thing, and then student leadership.
Yeah.
Just being able to allow the students to do something. We trust them.
Yes.
We're supervised from afar, and I saw it like actually start like out here. People were setting up and things, and I was just like, wow, they're really doing this.
Yeah.
But it was a magical event. I will actually post the article in the YouTube description box, and as well as the video as well. So we'll check all those out so people can see that we're telling lies here. It's all truth. You can see the evidence of it all. But what a wonderful thing, and appreciate all three of you to give the students the ability and the confidence to make it happen. Because if they weren't confident, that wouldn't have happened like that.
Correct.
Absolutely not would have happened. And then the biggest compliment that you received before, and you received before, Miss, when can we do it again?
Yes.
If you hear that, you did it right.
Yes.
We had that straight after the show.
Absolutely.
They're like, when's the next one? I was like,
Y'all looking at him like,
give us a moment. We'll plan something.
But that's the biggest compliment when someone says, hey, when can we do it again?
Yeah.
Right? Like it was very easy to do. It wasn't easy to do. But that should be something that you should pat your back. To say, hey, that was good. Sometimes we can be overcritical, but it works out.
Yeah.
It does. Interesting. We are at the conclusion of the show, but I have one more question. And then I have a bonus question.
Ooh. Do we get points?
Very easy,
Point
fun
one
question.
prizes.
Okay.
Very easy, but very fun question. But let's get to the last question. What's next for NAISAK Performing Arts? What is next? Is it Move 25? Is it A Sky Full of Stars 2.0? Right? Is it 400% intake in the next GCSE cohort? What is next? So people who are students here can get a glimpse, parents can get a glimpse, and prospective families who may be looking into our performing arts program. Because let's be clear, we're the only ones that have that Juilliard stamp in our Khor. Right? So if you are a performing arts student or aspiring student, this got to be the school you have to go to. It's a no-brainer if you're in our Khor, right? Or Lusail, by the way. All right, so what's next really for performing arts here?
We have short-term goals that's now happening within the next few weeks. We've got Brian and Raphael, our other curriculum specialists, coming in, and they're going to offer master classes for our students who actually took part in the Global Campus competition.
Yes.
And I know Vicki will talk about another event she's going to host. But long-term goals will be hopefully a production, like a full-on production on stage in the multipurpose hall. Something that suits our region, something, or maybe that's written by the students, since we have IGCSE here 11 students.
We do script writing, and
so maybe script writing. So a big production is definitely on the books for long-term plans.
Now this is recorded, so somebody can call you.
Fine. That's
Careful
fine.
what you say. Somebody can call you to tell you said this long.
I think for us, the general goal, we have specifics like that, but always the general goal for us is to grow the students' interest and love for the performing arts. And we are doing it, and we are getting there. Like we said, like when you said about the resistance you met when you first started, I had it when I first started, and now you know, we are getting more and more students realising the value of performing arts, and we're getting buy-in from the parents, and the students are suddenly seeing shows. One of my favourites was a year 10 who was part of the business studies group with A Sky Full of Stars, and they said, I got distracted doing what we should have been doing because I was watching the show. And they were like, and they said, when are you doing the next one? Can other students get involved?
Wow.
And it's like, okay, we're starting to build something here. People know that we have got, you know, we've got our path carved out, and we just want to keep growing and growing and make it, like you said, the best performing arts. You know, our Khor only have Juilliard, and that's with us. Yeah. So we just want to keep going and building, and bigger and better.
Absolutely. She put you on the spot now, by the way.
Oh,
She said you had something going on, and that you have plans. So I'm curious to hear this as well.
April is busy for movement. There's a few things that are happening. We have our wonderful usual International Day happening.
April 10th.
Both we're kind of all kind of dipping in here and there to like plan. There is a program of around 50 individual performances, which is now equating to everyone from FS1 all the way through to parents performing, which is a first.
Parents performing.
Wow, yeah.
And representing their own culture or country or heritage. We've got fashion shows, flash mobs. I probably shouldn't say that, flash mob. There's public speaking, poems. There's you name it. It's happening, and there's about 220 performers. Everyone from like students to performers. Students to parents. No teachers yet. Then we have a big movement assembly, which is also happening the same week, and that's a lot of students showing their skills that they've been learning. And I won't say too much because we're going to end up filming it. And then we've got QEPSA Move 25 for Key Stage 1 students. So now we're taking day 4 out of the week-long move, and we're just putting it as a standalone event, which was feedback from teachers the next day after we'd had QEPSA Move for Key Stage 2. They were like, when is the Key Stage 1 event? So between like kind of sorting it out, there's about 6 or 7 schools coming, and we have a dance company ourselves for the first time, Key Stage 1. And they will be competing. It kind of has it's inclusive and it's collaborative, but everyone who rocks up will walk away with a medal. Like we have best freestylers, we have like everyone will walk away with a trophy. They're going to be learning some choreography again, bringing their own, and then there'll be the competition element at the end. And then for the first time, we're actually taking our Key Stage 2 dance company to King's College, and travelling to the south of Qatar to go and take part in their dance festival, which they're hosting for International Dance Day on the 29th of April. So April is full on for me and movement. It's these guys get a little bit of quiet time now.
If it's full on for you, then I'm getting it too. So
you are. You should
pictures, some videos, make this graphic.
FYI all of the dates. Here we go.
It's coming. All right, that sounds great. So there's a lot going on, which I'm not surprised. Maybe the audience is, but it's always a lot going on. So we're at the last stage of the interview, and I have one question. We usually ask 5. That's if we have one-on-one interviews, but because we have a group, I'll ask one question. Easy question.
Okay.
Who is your favorite? I guess this is what I'll do. We'll do individual. Who is your favorite actress or actor, and why?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's a question, huh?
Dame Julie Walters.
Good shout.
She, if you haven't seen Billy Elliot, she plays a dance teacher in Billy Elliot. She is one of Britain's most finest comedic actresses, and she just genuinely, I don't know, every role she's done, whether it be a serious dramatic role or comedy, she's just, I just find her really endearing, and I've loved all of her work. So
what's the favorite movie that you could say people want to see her in action?
Educating Rita.
Okay, Educating.
Definitely.
Okay.
yeah, that's probably mine.
All right. But different question now because you're a movement.
Oh, I had an answer for that. Not actress, but choreographer.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to go to. So,
Oh, right, sorry, my bad.
So, your favorite dancer or choreographer or movementist?
Yeah, so moving artist, yeah.
Artist, right.
Gosh, my idol was someone who I was like, is Martha Graham. She was huge, like, you know, back in the day. And influenced Christopher Bruce, who is another famous choreographer, who I was was introduced to with doing dance GCSE. Yeah. And I'd never heard of either of them. I mean, I didn't even know what contemporary dance was. And so that's my love for seeing their works on stage come alive. You can't explain it. And I think like that's how I, you know, from seeing their work, that gave me the passion and to kind of stay in contemporary dance and like, you know, dabble in other styles along the way. But yeah, they were just pioneers of, especially Martha Graham, like she's a pioneer of the dance world. And yeah.
Nice. All right. Last question for you. Who's your favorite musician and why?
This might surprise you. I can choose Mozart or Beethoven or someone like that who's really famous. But Susan Boyle.
Susan Boyle?
Who was on Britain's Got Talent.
Are you joking?
I'm not joking.
Oh, brilliant.
Wow.
How she was just from a girl from the countryside, almost no one.
Yep.
How she got on stage and how shy she was, and that process she went through from being almost no one to being someone brilliant and someone that everyone in life can just look up to and say, oh, if she can do it, I can do it.
Absolutely.
And that she's my inspiration.
Gosh.
I did not expect that one.
I did not expect
No, I didn't expect that either.
That's a good one though. You forget about Susan Boyle sometimes, and
You need to put a clip of her in the video description as well.
Plug her video in.
That's what I mean.
No, that's amazing though. That's amazing. I thought you were gonna say like 50 Cent.
No,
That's you.
not yet.
Is that on yours?
Oh man, no. But all jokes aside, see, you can't ask me that question because there's no who's my favorite marketing person. You can't, you know, so it doesn't really fit for me. But
I'll flip it then.
Okay.
Like out of like, you know, the three specialisms, like what would be your like favorite performing art as a person like now in this day and age?
you know, I love acting. I do. My wife will tell you. I like to make scenarios and scenes and things like that. And I really think Denzel Washington is unparalleled.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Good old Denzel.
He's phenomenal.
I can't think of a bad movie he made.
No, there isn't one.
No.
I can't. And you got to hear directors talk about him. How this wasn't in the script. So he totally took over the scene. There was a scene in the movie Flight. And in this scene, it was a pretty mundane scene of him, and he's not fully there health-wise, and his co-pilot knows it. But the way he captured that scene, even though it's just a normal, like, yeah, do you check the manifest? Yep, you know, this is right, correct, cool. How many people do you have on board? But just that little mundane scene just took it over, and he said things without even saying it. And he just has a way of doing that. And so many people said, oh, that wasn't on the script. But he improvised.
Wow.
And he brought his own element into it.
He's also one of the ones I've seen that a lot of other actors, like really famous actors, people that are known for their craft, when they're in a film with Denzel, they'll have a moment of going, oh my God, I'm in a film with Denzel. And then they'll be like, it's your line. They'll be like, oh, sorry. And they get starstruck as well. So yeah, that's a really good choice.
So yeah, I'm not a musician. The most I've ever done was I used to make like beats like hip hop and R&B back in the day.
Yep.
But I wasn't playing piano. I was more percussionist. You know.
That's more what I did.
Dance, I'm not really a dancer. I do a 1-2 step. Keep it in a pocket.
I've seen you on that basketball court.
Yeah, you got moves.
With your 1-2 step.
That's an old. I'm a shell of what I used to be.
And we are.
I'm a shell of what I used to be. So I can't say dance because I don't really dance like Chris Brown or Michael Jackson or something. But acting, I feel like I could have maybe dabbled into that a little bit more growing up. But I was,
You'd make a good Hamlet.
Why not? If you have it, in the future, maybe I might go out there.
Maybe a teacher's performance or something.
Next
maybe I'll go out there.
Staff.
We'll see. We'll play around.
Okay.
But listen, I had a pleasure in this conversation. This has been a long time coming to get all of us together.
I know.
Yes.
Only if people knew how long.
We're very
and
difficult.
Challenges. But we made it. We're here, and it was worth the price of admission.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
No,
Thank you. Thank you for having
good.
us.
We're signing off. Episode 4, Learning Curve Podcast. Ma salama.
Bye.